Well, hello everyone, this is Crystal and welcome back to my channel. So if you're trying to survive high school or college right now, sometimes you just need all of the junk food in the world to keep you alive for that all-nighter. And those spicy chili Doritos, instant noodles, are essential before every single midterm and final, even though everyone knows that they are bad for our health and bodies. But who cares, right? You might think eating junk food is my own personal choice and I'm not causing any harm to society. But the concept of negative consumption externalities might change what you think, because actually consuming junk food has a huge impact on society and environment as well. So the idea here is that eating too much of a junk food will definitely contribute to health problems like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, obesity, and even cancers. So maybe it won't be shown in the short term, but if eating junk food becomes your habit, you'll see the long-term negative consequences at some point towards your life. And when you're too fat, you won't be as healthy as before, and it is more likely for you to get type 2 diabetes and heart diseases. And when you're sick, you'll be less productive at work. Therefore, we have to count the cost of productivity and foregone economic growth because of lost work days, disability, and perhaps death. And for most of the time, people need to go to hospital for their serious health conditions caused by unhealthy eating. And time, money, and energy spent treating patients will affect the efficiency, availability, and cost of medical care. And these are the negative externalities caused by an unhealthy diet. So now let's see how negative consumption externalities will look like on an economic diagram. So here in this junk food consumption example, we'll need to calculate the external cost resulting from bad diet and the related diseases. So the healthcare cost are considered as an additional burden upon society. When there is an externalities from consumption, marginal private benefit or our demand curve will not overlap with the marginal social benefit curve anymore. So previously, we spent a long time talking about the free market condition without external cost. So in that case, MPB is equal to demand is equal to MSB. But now, marginal social benefit and marginal private benefit will diverge. So as you can see here, the marginal social benefit curve is below my marginal private benefit curve due to negative externalities. So the vertical line over here between these two curves will be my external costs, such as healthcare costs and lost in productivity. So these are the costs that will be borne by the whole entire society, in addition to the cost on an individual. So in a mathematical term, MSB is less than MSC, and MSB plus the external cost or the negative benefits is equal to MSC. But of course, the market will still determine my final equilibrium quantity and price that are labeled as QM and PM right here. But the socially optimum level will be at the place where MSB and MSC intersects. So you'll see the socially optimum quantity will be on the left side of the quantity determined by the market. So similar to negative production externalities, we have a welfare loss being generated due to over-allocation of resources. So since society as a whole will be at the most ideal level at QOPT, but actually more unhealthy food is being consumed at QM level. So why? Because at this socially optimum level, consumers have no incentive to consume at this quantity because the corresponding private benefit is very high, as you can see. And if they end up consuming this amount, the private benefit will be much lower. So even though society as a whole will be happier when people consume less junk food, eventually the quantity will still end up here without any intervention from the government. And this little black triangle will be the welfare loss. And remember last time in our previous video, we introduced a method to calculate the loss of welfare. So originally in a free market without any externality, the social surplus will be this upper triangle or the consumer surplus plus the lower triangle, in this case, the producer surplus, minus the total external cost. So it is this region, it is simply the external cost per unit times the total unit being consumed up to QM level. So what will remain is this triangle minus this smaller triangle. So up to this point, we have only analyzed the market condition, but at the socially optimal level, the total surplus will shrink because my consumer surplus and producer surplus both reduce in this case. But the good news is that at the optimal level, there isn't any externality to be considered anymore. So the result is simply this triangle. And the final step is to compare the two results. So we see the total surplus or benefits at market equilibrium is smaller by the area of E. So this black triangle will be my welfare loss. So far, we have introduced the tools to analyze the market outcomes of two types of negative externalities, and the models will be very useful to help us understand the government legislation, regulation, and policies, something that we'll talk about in our next couple of videos. So stay tuned. If you like this educational content and the tutorial videos that I make, please subscribe my channel, give a like to the videos, and leave a comment down below. And I hope to see you next time. Ciao!